What if I told you that some of Hollywood's most beloved romantic leads were living completely different lives behind closed doors? While the golden age appeared squeaky clean on screen, a hidden world of secret relationships and coded messages thrived just beneath the surface. These forgotten LGBTQ stars weren't just acting in their movies. Tab Hunter was the ultimate 1950s heartthrob, complete with blonde hair and blue eyes that made teenage girls scream. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. While Warner Brothers was marketing him as every girl's dream boyfriend, Hunter was quietly navigating a completely different reality behind the scenes. The studio machine worked overtime to create the perfect heterosexual image for their golden boy. They arranged fake dates with starlets like Natalie Wood, staged romantic photo shoots, and fed gossip columnists stories about his supposed love affairs. What they didn't know was that Hunter was already in a long-term relationship with ice skater Ronnie Robertson, a secret he guarded fiercely. Hunter's carefully constructed image nearly crumbled in 1955 when Confidential magazine threatened to expose his private life. The scandal rag had photos and witness accounts that could have destroyed his career overnight. In a desperate move, Warner Brothers struck a deal with the magazine, offering them dirt on another star in exchange for burying Hunter's story. The trade worked, but it left Hunter living in constant fear. The pressure of maintaining his facade took a massive toll. Hunter later revealed that he felt like he was performing 24 hours a day, never able to truly be himself. He attended premieres with beautiful actresses while longing to share those moments with the person he actually loved. The irony wasn't lost on him that his most convincing performances happened off-screen. Despite the studio's best efforts to keep him closeted, Hunter found ways to connect with the LGBTQ community. He frequented underground clubs in West Hollywood and formed friendships with other actors facing similar struggles. These connections became his lifeline during the darkest periods of his career. Hunter's breakthrough role in Damn Yankees proved he had genuine talent beyond his looks, but by then, the damage was done. The constant stress of hiding his true self had worn him down, and he began turning down major roles rather than continue the charade. His career never fully recovered from the choices he made to protect his secret. George Cukor directed some of Hollywood's most iconic films, yet his personal life remained one of the industry's best-kept secrets. Known as a woman's director for his ability to craft powerful female characters, Cukor was actually drawing from his own experience of living authentically while hiding in plain sight. MGM executives knew about Cukor's orientation, but chose to look the other way as long as he delivered hits. His Sunday pool parties at his Beverly Hills mansion became legendary gathering spots for LGBTQ actors, writers, and industry insiders. These weren't wild affairs, but rather sophisticated salons where people could drop their masks and speak freely about their lives. The most shocking moment of Cukor's career came during the production of Gone with the Wind. Clark Gable, uncomfortable with Cukor's direction style and possibly his orientation, demanded his removal from the project. Producer David O. Selznick reluctantly replaced Cukor with Victor Fleming, though Cukor continued working on the film in secret, particularly coaching Vivien Leigh through her most challenging scenes. Cukor's genius lay in his ability to understand the female psyche, partly because he knew what it felt like to live a carefully constructed public persona. Stars like Katharine Hepburn and Judy Garland trusted him completely, knowing he understood the pressure of hiding one's true self. His direction of Garland in A Star Is Born captured a vulnerability that few other directors could have achieved. The studio system protected Cukor because his films made money, but they also used his orientation as a weapon when convenient. During contract negotiations, subtle threats about exposure would surface, keeping him in line. Despite this, Cukor managed to infuse his films with subtle themes of identity and authenticity that resonated with audiences who understood the coded messages. His relationship with actor George Towers lasted over 30 years, though they were forced to present themselves as roommates to the public. Cukor's ability to maintain both a successful career and a loving relationship under such circumstances was remarkable, though it came at the cost of never being able to celebrate his achievements openly with the person who mattered most, Cesar Romero. Cesar Romero was Hollywood's go-to Latin lover, dancing his way through musicals and charming audiences with his debonair screen presence. But while studios marketed him as the ultimate romantic leading man, Romero was living a completely different story behind the glamorous facade. The Cuban-American actor understood early in his career that admitting his true orientation would mean career destruction. Instead, he cultivated an image as a sophisticated bachelor who simply hadn't found the right woman. Gossip columnists occasionally linked him to various actresses, but Romero skillfully deflected marriage questions by claiming his career came first. What made Romero's situation particularly complex was his deep Catholic faith. He struggled internally with reconciling his beliefs with his identity, often attending Mass while grappling with feelings of guilt and confusion. This internal conflict added layers to his performances, particularly in dramatic roles where he could channel genuine emotional turmoil. Romero's most famous role as the Joker in the 1960s Batman TV series became unexpectedly liberating for him. The character's flamboyant nature allowed him to express aspects of his personality that he normally kept hidden. His refusal to shave his mustache for the role, requiring makeup artists to paint over it, became a symbol of his subtle rebellion against Hollywood's demands for conformity. Behind the scenes, Romero maintained a long-term relationship with actor Tyrone Power, though both men were extremely discreet about their connection. They would travel together frequently, always maintaining separate hotel rooms and public appearances to avoid suspicion. Their relationship lasted until Power's death in 1958, leaving Romero devastated but unable to publicly mourn his loss. The actor's later years were marked by increasing boldness about his identity, though he never made any public statements. Friends recalled that he became more selective about roles, choosing projects that allowed him to work with LGBTQ-friendly directors and actors. His legacy as both a talented performer and a survivor of Hollywood's closeting system remains largely unrecognized today. Agnes Moorehead. Agnes Moorehead commanded respect in Hollywood as one of the finest character actresses of her generation, but her personal life remained shrouded in mystery and carefully constructed misdirection. While she married twice, those close to her knew these relationships served primarily as professional arrangements rather than romantic partnerships. Moorehead's breakthrough came with Orson Welles' Mercury Theater, where she developed a reputation for fierce intelligence and uncompromising artistic standards. Her partnership with Welles continued into radio and film, creating some of the most memorable performances in classic Hollywood. What audiences didn't know was that the Mercury Theater also served as a safe haven for several LGBTQ performers. The actress's most significant relationship was with actress Deborah Kerr, though they were extraordinarily careful to maintain public facades as close friends. They would vacation together frequently, always with other companions to avoid speculation. Their correspondence, discovered years later, revealed a deep emotional connection that lasted for decades. Moorehead's role as Endora on Bewitched became unexpectedly meaningful for LGBTQ viewers who saw coded messages in her character's outsider status and magical powers. The show's themes of hiding one's true nature from disapproving society resonated strongly with audiences who understood those struggles firsthand. Moorehead reportedly enjoyed these interpretations, though she never commented publicly about them. The studio system both protected and exploited Moorehead's ambiguous personal life. Her talent was undeniable, making her valuable to studios, but they also used subtle pressure to ensure her cooperation. She learned to navigate these waters carefully, maintaining her artistic integrity while protecting her private relationships from public scrutiny. Her final years were marked by increasing reclusiveness, partly due to health issues, but also because she grew tired of maintaining public pretenses. Close friends reported that she expressed regret about never being able to live openly, particularly regarding her relationship with Kerr. Moorehead's legacy as a gifted actress remains intact, but her personal struggles highlight the human cost of Hollywood's oppressive system. Vincent Price. Vincent Price became synonymous with gothic horror, but his most terrifying performance was the daily act of hiding his true self from an industry that would have destroyed him for loving men. The master of macabre was living his own horror story off-screen, complete with fake marriages and carefully orchestrated public appearances. Price's first marriage to actress Edith Barrett was largely a business arrangement, though they maintained genuine friendship throughout their relationship. Barrett understood the situation and even helped facilitate Price's discreet relationships with men. Their divorce was amicable, with Barrett later admitting she knew about Price's orientation from the beginning. The actor's relationship with costume designer Coral Brown began as another arranged marriage, but evolved into something more complex. Brown, who was likely bisexual herself, provided Price with companionship and protection while allowing him space for other relationships. Their marriage lasted until her death, though both maintained other romantic connections. Price's horror film career provided unexpected freedom for expressing his flamboyant personality. The genre's theatrical nature allowed him to embrace camp sensibilities that he couldn't display in other roles. His performances in films like House of Wax and The Abominable Dr. Phibes contained subtle nods to LGBTQ culture that delighted those who understood the references. Behind his carefully constructed public image, Price was a passionate art collector and gourmet cook who hosted elaborate dinner parties for Hollywood's LGBTQ elite. His Beverly Hills home became a safe space where actors, directors, and writers could socialize without fear of exposure. These gatherings were legendary for their wit, sophistication, and complete discretion. The pressure of maintaining his double life manifested in Price's later career choices. He began selecting roles that allowed him to work with LGBTQ-friendly directors and cast members, creating a network of protection within the industry. His autobiography, published posthumously, hinted at these struggles without explicitly addressing his orientation, maintaining the careful balance he had practiced throughout his life. Clifton Webb. Clifton Webb perfected the art of being flamboyantly himself, while somehow convincing audiences he was just an eccentric bachelor. His razor-sharp wit and impeccable style made him one of Hollywood's most distinctive character actors, but his personal life was an elaborate performance that lasted his entire career. Webb's relationship with his mother Grace became central to his public image, presenting them as devoted companions who simply didn't need anyone else. What the public didn't know was that this arrangement provided perfect cover for Webb's romantic relationships with men. Grace actively participated in maintaining her son's secret, even hosting social gatherings where his partners could visit without arousing suspicion. The actor's breakthrough role in Laura established him as Hollywood's premier sophisticate, but it also cemented his image as a sexless, cerebral performer. Studio publicity departments played up his intellectual interests and cultural refinement while carefully avoiding any mention of romantic entanglements. This strategy worked so well that many audience members never questioned his bachelor status. Webb's long-term relationship with actor Jack Kirkwood lasted over 20 years, though they were forced to maintain separate residences and public identities. They would travel together frequently, always as friends, accompanying each other to social events. Their correspondence reveals a deep love complicated by the constant need for secrecy and misdirection. The actor's famous wit served multiple purposes beyond entertainment. His cutting remarks and sophisticated humor created a persona that seemed above ordinary human desires, making his lack of romantic interests appear natural rather than suspicious. He became a master of deflecting personal questions with perfectly timed jokes that left interrogators laughing but uninformed. Webb's later career was marked by increasing boldness in his performances, particularly in musicals where he could express more flamboyant aspects of his personality. His role in The Razor's Edge allowed him to explore themes of spiritual searching that reflected his own struggles with identity and authenticity. Despite never publicly acknowledging his orientation, Webb's performances contained layers of meaning that resonated with LGBTQ audiences who understood his coded messages. Mercedes Ruehl's mentor, Ava Legalen. Ava Legalen revolutionized American theater while living openly with women in her private life, somehow managing to avoid the scandals that destroyed other careers. Her genius lay in creating an artistic persona so compelling that critics and audiences focused on her work rather than her personal relationships. Legalen's partnership with actress Jo Hutchinson lasted over 40 years, making it one of the longest relationships in entertainment history. They presented themselves as artistic collaborators and close friends, living together openly while maintaining separate bedrooms for appearances. Their Connecticut home became a refuge for LGBTQ theater professionals who needed a safe space away from Broadway's pressures. The actress founded the Civic Repertory Theater in 1926, creating an artistic environment where LGBTQ performers could work without fear of discrimination. Her company became known for exceptional performances, but also for its inclusive atmosphere, attracting talented actors who had been marginalized elsewhere. This revolutionary approach influenced generations of theater professionals. Legalen's autobiography, published in 1934, was remarkably honest about her relationships with women, though she framed them in terms of deep friendship rather than romance. The book became a bestseller, proving that audiences were more accepting of unconventional lives when presented through artistic achievement rather than scandal. Her influence extended beyond her own performances to mentoring young actors who struggled with identity issues. Stars like Montgomery Clift and Marlon Brando sought her advice about navigating Hollywood while remaining true to themselves. Her theater became a training ground for actors who would later bring new levels of authenticity to film performances. Legalen's final years were marked by increasing recognition for her contributions to American theater, though her personal relationships remained diplomatically unmentioned in official tributes. Her legacy as both an artistic pioneer and LGBTQ trailblazer continues to influence performers who understand the courage required to live authentically in an unforgiving industry. Paty Kelly. Paty Kelly carved out a unique niche as Hollywood's favorite wisecracking sidekick, but her sharp humor masked a more complex story about identity and survival in an industry that demanded conformity. While she never achieved leading lady status, Kelly found something perhaps more valuable: the freedom to be authentically herself. Kelly's comedy partnership with Thelma Todd in the 1930s became one of Hollywood's most successful female comedy teams, but their relationship extended far beyond professional collaboration. They shared an apartment and traveled together constantly, presenting themselves as best friends while maintaining a romantic relationship that lasted until Todd's mysterious death in 1935. The actress's working-class background gave her a different perspective on Hollywood's closeting pressures. Unlike stars who came from wealthy families, Kelly couldn't afford to walk away from her career, forcing her to develop survival strategies that kept her working while protecting her private life. Her technique involved being so aggressively unsexy that studios never bothered creating romantic storylines for her character. Kelly's relationship with actress Wilma Cox lasted over 30 years, making it one of the most stable partnerships in Hollywood history. They lived together openly, claiming to be roommates sharing expenses, while Cox worked behind the scenes as Kelly's secretary and companion. Their arrangement was so successful that even gossip columnists ignored them, assuming their relationship was purely practical. The actress's later career resurgence in No, No, Nanette brought her renewed fame and a Tony Award nomination, proving that authentic performances could triumph over manufactured personas. Her return to prominence coincided with changing social attitudes, allowing her to be more open about her life without destroying her career prospects. Kelly's legacy as both a gifted comedian and LGBTQ pioneer remains largely unrecognized, though her influence can be seen in later performers who refuse to conform to traditional feminine ideals. Her ability to maintain her career while living authentically provided a roadmap for other actors facing similar challenges in less tolerant times. William Haynes. William Haynes made the ultimate choice between love and career, walking away from Hollywood stardom rather than hide his relationship with Jimmy Shields. His decision shocked the industry and created a precedent that influenced how other LGBTQ actors approached their own dilemmas between authenticity and success. Haynes was MGM's biggest male star in the late 1920s, earning more than any other actor at the studio and commanding massive audience loyalty. His romantic comedies with Joan Crawford and Marion Davies broke box office records, making him virtually untouchable within the studio system. Then everything changed when sound films arrived and his high-pitched voice didn't match his masculine image. Studio executives saw this transition period as an opportunity to address what they considered Haynes's problem. They offered him a simple choice: marry a woman and continue his career, or maintain his relationship with Shields and face professional exile. Haynes chose love, becoming the first major star to voluntarily leave Hollywood rather than submit to the closeting system. The actor's relationship with Shields lasted over 50 years, making it one of the most enduring partnerships in entertainment history. They built a successful interior design business together, decorating homes for Hollywood elite who admired Haynes's artistic vision while respecting his personal choices. Their client list included many former colleagues who supported them privately while maintaining public distance. Haynes's interior design career became legendary among Hollywood insiders, with stars like George Cukor and Carole Lombard specifically requesting his services. His Beverly Hills showroom became an unofficial meeting place for LGBTQ professionals who appreciated his courage in choosing authenticity over fame. The business thrived for decades, proving that success was possible outside the studio system. His influence on later LGBTQ actors was profound, demonstrating that walking away from Hollywood wasn't career suicide, but rather a different path to fulfillment. Stars facing similar choices could point to Haynes as proof that happiness and professional success could coexist without compromise, inspiring a generation of performers to prioritize personal integrity over fame. Alla Nazimova. Alla Nazimova created her own rules in Hollywood, living openly with women while maintaining a successful career through sheer force of talent and personality. The Russian-born actress understood that genius could provide protection that conventional behavior couldn't match, using her artistic reputation as armor against moral crusaders. Nazimova's estate, nicknamed the Garden of Allah, became legendary as Hollywood's most exclusive gathering place for LGBTQ celebrities, artists, and intellectuals. The property featured elaborate theme parties where guests could express themselves freely, knowing that Nazimova's reputation for discretion was absolute. These events influenced Hollywood culture for decades, creating a template for safe socializing that other stars copied. The actress's relationships with women were conducted openly within her circle, though she occasionally arranged marriages of convenience to satisfy studio demands. Her partnership with costume designer Natasha Rambova was particularly significant, lasting several years and influencing both women's artistic development. Rambova later married Rudolph Valentino in what many suspected was another arranged relationship. Nazimova's production company allowed her unprecedented creative control, enabling her to create films that explored themes of female independence and unconventional relationships. Her adaptation of Oscar Wilde's Salome featured an entirely LGBTQ cast, creating a unique artistic statement that celebrated queer identity through classical literature. The film became a cult classic among those who understood its significance. Her acting technique influenced generations of performers who studied her ability to convey complex emotions through subtle physical expression. Stars like Greta Garbo and Marlene Dietrich acknowledged Nazimova's influence on their own approaches to creating mysterious, compelling screen personas that suggested depths beyond what conventional scripts provided. Nazimova's later years were marked by increasing boldness about her identity, though she maintained enough discretion to avoid major scandals. Her autobiography hinted at her relationships without explicit confirmation, maintaining the careful balance between honesty and privacy that had protected her throughout her career. Her legacy as both an artistic pioneer and LGBTQ trailblazer continues to inspire performers who refuse to compromise their authentic selves for mainstream acceptance. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson became Hollywood's ultimate heartthrob, while living one of the industry's most elaborate double lives, proving that even the most masculine screen personas could mask completely different realities. His tragic story reveals how the studio system both created and destroyed the stars it claimed to protect. Hudson's transformation from Roy Scherer Jr. into Hollywood royalty was entirely manufactured by agent Henry Wilson, who specialized in creating marketable personas for LGBTQ actors. Wilson changed everything about Hudson: his name, his voice, his backstory, and even his walk. The result was a perfectly crafted illusion that fooled millions of fans who swooned over his romantic leading man roles. The actor's arranged marriage to Phyllis Gates in 1955 was pure damage control after Confidential magazine threatened to expose his private life. Gates, Wilson's secretary, understood the arrangement's purpose, but later claimed she genuinely believed Hudson might change. Their 3-year marriage became a masterclass in public deception, complete with staged romantic photos and carefully scripted interviews about their perfect love. Behind the facade, Hudson maintained relationships with various men throughout his career, always with extreme caution and elaborate security measures. His long-term partnership with Mark Christian lasted until Hudson's death, though Christian remained hidden from public view. The secrecy took an enormous emotional toll, with Hudson reportedly struggling with depression and alcohol abuse as the pressure mounted. Hudson's diagnosis with AIDS in 1984 forced him into an impossible position. He initially tried to hide his illness, claiming exhaustion, but the visible decline made concealment impossible. His decision to publicly acknowledge his condition made him the first major celebrity to admit having AIDS, finally shattering the carefully constructed heterosexual image he had maintained for 30 years. The revelation transformed Hudson from romantic icon to tragic figure overnight, but it also sparked unprecedented public conversation about AIDS and LGBTQ issues. His death in 1985 became a watershed moment that forced Hollywood to confront the human cost of its closeting system. The irony wasn't lost that Hudson's greatest contribution to LGBTQ rights came only at the end of his life, when he could no longer maintain the lie that had defined his career: Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins spent his entire career running from his true self, creating screen characters that explored the very psychological tensions he experienced daily. His struggle with identity became both his greatest acting asset and his personal torment, resulting in performances of uncommon depth and authenticity. Perkins's breakthrough role in Fear Strikes Out established him as Hollywood's go-to actor for portraying internal conflict, but few realized how closely his performances mirrored his real experiences. His ability to convey repressed emotions and psychological turmoil came from genuine understanding of what it meant to hide fundamental aspects of one's personality from the world. The actor's marriage to photographer Barry Berenson was another industry arrangement designed to provide cover, though their relationship evolved into genuine affection over time. Berenson reportedly knew about Perkins's orientation, but chose to maintain the marriage anyway, providing him with the family life he craved while understanding the limitations of their romantic connection. Perkins's most famous role as Norman Bates in Psycho became uncomfortably personal as he inhabited a character whose repressed desires led to psychological breakdown. His performance contained layers of meaning that audiences sensed without fully understanding, creating one of cinema's most memorable portrayals of internal conflict and hidden identity. Throughout his career, Perkins sought therapy to cure his orientation, reflecting the era's misguided medical attitudes toward LGBTQ identity. These treatments caused additional psychological damage while failing to change his fundamental nature, creating a cycle of shame and self-hatred that influenced his increasingly dark film choices in later years. His death from AIDS-related complications in 1992 was kept secret until after his funeral, maintaining the pattern of concealment that had defined his life. Berenson's decision to reveal the cause of death sparked important conversations about the ongoing stigma surrounding AIDS, though it came too late to help Perkins himself find peace with his identity. Ramon Novaro. Ramon Novaro became Hollywood's first major Latin lover, but his carefully constructed masculine image concealed a private life that would ultimately lead to his tragic death. His story illustrates how the intersection of ethnicity and orientation created double jeopardy for stars who didn't fit Hollywood's narrow definitions of acceptability. Novaro's rise to fame came through his exotic appeal to female audiences who found his combination of masculinity and sensitivity irresistible. MGM marketed him as a mysterious foreign lover, playing up his Mexican heritage while carefully avoiding any suggestion that his bachelor status might be anything other than romantic selectivity. The actor's relationship with journalist Herbert Howe lasted over a decade, though they were forced to maintain extreme discretion due to both men's public profiles. Howe wrote extensively about Hollywood while protecting Novaro's secret, creating an unusual dynamic where personal and professional lives intersected dangerously. Novaro's struggle with alcoholism was directly connected to the pressure of maintaining his false image while dealing with Hollywood's racism and homophobia. He found solace in his Catholic faith, which provided comfort, but also increased his internal conflict about his identity. This religious struggle added another layer to his psychological burden. His career declined as sound films exposed his accent, which studios had previously hidden through careful casting and direction. The transition to talking pictures eliminated many opportunities for ethnic actors, forcing Novaro to accept increasingly minor roles that didn't utilize his talents effectively. The actor's brutal murder in 1968 by two young men who came to his home under false pretenses shocked Hollywood and highlighted the vulnerability of LGBTQ individuals, particularly older men who lived alone. The crime's circumstances forced uncomfortable conversations about the risks faced by closeted celebrities who sought companionship outside traditional social structures. Charles Lton. Charles Lton channeled his experience as an outsider into some of cinema's most powerful performances, creating characters whose internal struggles reflected his own battles with identity and acceptance. His marriage to actress Elsa Lanchester became one of Hollywood's most successful partnerships between two people who understood the necessity of maintaining public facades. Lofton's physical appearance made him an unlikely leading man, but his commanding screen presence and remarkable range established him as one of the era's finest character actors. His ability to portray complex, often tormented characters came from personal understanding of what it meant to feel different and misunderstood in a conformist society. The actor's relationship with Lanchester was based on mutual respect and shared artistic vision rather than romantic attraction. She understood his orientation and provided both professional collaboration and personal protection, while he supported her career and offered the stability of marriage without romantic demands. Lawton's direction of The Night of the Hunter revealed his artistic vision when freed from studio constraints, creating a haunting masterpiece that explored themes of good versus evil with uncommon psychological depth. The film's failure at the box office devastated him, representing the rejection of his most personal artistic statement. His teaching work with young actors later in life provided an outlet for mentoring relationships that couldn't exist openly in Hollywood's homophobic environment. Students like Marilyn Monroe and Tony Curtis found in Lton a director who understood their insecurities and helped them access emotional depths they didn't know they possessed. Lawton's legacy, as both performer and director, continues to influence actors who understand that great art often comes from personal pain transformed into universal truth. His ability to create beauty from suffering provided a template for LGBTQ artists who found ways to express their authentic selves through their work, even when personal expression remained impossible. Judith Anderson. Dame Judith Anderson dominated both stage and screen through sheer force of talent and personality, creating an artistic persona so compelling that audiences never questioned her private life. Her relationship with producer Catherine Cornell lasted over 40 years, making it one of the entertainment industry's most enduring partnerships. Anderson's breakthrough performance as Mrs. Danvers in Rebecca established her as Hollywood's premier portrayer of complex, mysterious women. Her ability to convey repressed passion and hidden motivations came from personal understanding of what it meant to maintain carefully constructed public personas while hiding authentic desires. The actress's partnership with Cornell created a theatrical dynasty that influenced American theater for decades. They presented themselves as artistic collaborators and devoted friends, living together openly while maintaining separate professional identities that protected both their careers and their relationship. Anderson's later success in Medea brought her international acclaim and proved that authentic emotional power could transcend conventional beauty standards or romantic storylines. Her performance drew from personal experience of passion and loss, creating a portrayal of mythic proportions that critics recognized as definitive. Her influence on younger actors, particularly women seeking to balance career success with personal authenticity, was profound but largely unrecognized. Stars like Bette Davis and Joan Crawford sought her advice about navigating Hollywood's demands while maintaining artistic integrity, finding in Anderson a model of professional success achieved without personal compromise. Anderson's final years were marked by increasing recognition for her contributions to theater and film, though her personal relationships remained diplomatically unmentioned in official tributes. Her legacy as both a gifted performer and LGBTQ pioneer continues to inspire artists who understand that great work often requires great courage in both professional and personal choices. These forgotten stars prove that LGBTQ people weren't just surviving in classic Hollywood. They were thriving, creating and building communities that shaped entertainment forever. Their courage in living authentic lives, even in secret, paved the way for today's performers who can be open about their identities. What surprised you most about these hidden stories? Do you think Hollywood today is really more accepting, or have the closets just gotten more sophisticated? Drop your thoughts below and tell me which forgotten LGBTQ star deserves their own biopic.